Jai Hind to all. Welcome back to my IT tutorials. Yesterday, I discussed some of the points about the Session-1, that is introducing databases. And today, I'll continue with the same chapter. Now, in advantages of database, we have seen the many points like database help us to share the data, database help us to manage the data also, database provides the securities also, it's reduce the redundancy, it reduce the inconsistency, and bulk amount of data we can manage and efficiently we can manage. It takes less time to work with the data and manage the data. Now today some of the terms, that is a database related term that we'll discuss. And first and foremost, the different areas of the table. Now table, as you have discussed or we have discussed already yesterday, the table is a prime object where it is stored in a tabular form, row and column format, and is a prime object. It means in database without table you cannot think about anything. Now the question is, what are there in the table? Now table, first and foremost, there are fields. Now field is a separate unit in a table where we store a specific kind of data. Mind it. A field in a table is a separate or a small unit in a table where we store a separate kind of data is called field. For example, if it is a student table, we have admission number, we have a name, we have a class, we have a section, we have father's name, mother's name, address, phone number. These all are the different fields in a student table. That is how fields are. Now second is, what is data item? Now data items and a field and column and label, these are the same. Now attributes, it is also sometimes called attributes, mind it. So same thing, field, column name, data item and attributes. Definition goes the same. So attributes are also the fields in a table where we store a separate kind of data. Column is also the smallest unit in a table where we store data. If it is a field, field is again the smallest unit in a table where we store data. So either it is attributes or a column or a field name or a label or a heading, the answer will be the same. Now next is, what is record? Now record is a collections of fields in a table form a record. A record is a horizontal arrangement of data in a table. Record is a complete information about a particular person that we store in a different field in table is called record. So what is record? It's a horizontal arrangement of data. So once you pick a data horizontally from the first to last columns, then basically we are talking about a record. Combination of collections of more than one field forms a record. That is also another answer. And third is relation. Table in a database is called relation. Mind it. Table in a database is called relation. So definition of the field, then the record, then the relation. Association among the table is called relation. Association among the table is called relation, or table in database is called relations. That is what different terms we use in it. Now, types of keys in a table. There are different kind of keys we use in a table. Now, keys, you have to understand, important field in a table is called keys, and there are different kind of important fields we have in database or in a table. First and foremost, primary key. Primary key is such important key of field in a table which never allow you to enter the null value, which never allow you to enter the duplicate value, and it's always unique, mind it. So primary key is such a wonderful key of field in a table which help us to uniquely identify record from database. Primary key we create intensely in a table out of the all field, one single field, so that our data will be pure. There will be no ambiguity in the data, there will be no duplicacy in the data. So what is primary key? Primary key is a key of field in a table which never allow you to enter the null value and duplicate value in that field. Now in a table, mind it, you have to keep that in mind. In a table, there may be only maximum one primary key. No circumstances in a table there may be two primary key or there will be a two primary key. It means in every circumstances a maximum number of primary key will be only one. Now second is a composite primary key, but situation can be like once a particular field is not suitable for the primary key, with the help of more than one field, you can create a primary, and once the primary key is based on more than one field in a single table, then that primary key is called composite primary. I hope the composite primary is also clear. The composite primary is such key combination in a particular table that creates a primary key. So more than one field together form a primary key is called composite primary. Sometimes it may be seen alternate key. All the keys that can be primary, out of which once you declared a key as in primary, rest field left with us in a table is called alternate key. Mind it. Suppose in a table there are 4 fields, out of that 2 fields that can be a primary and you selected one as a primary, so another one or all the field left with you that can be primary in that table is an alternate key. So alternate keys are the keys or column or fields which left with us after declaring the primary key from the all candidate key. Candidate keys are the keys in a table or fields in a table which can be primary key. Out of that, once we select one as a primary, rest other field is alternate. So alternate, primary and candidate all are linked together. First of all, the fields are candidate to become a primary. Once we select one field as a primary, rest other field left with us in a table is called alternate key. So I hope alternate key, primary key and candidate key, this must be very clear to you all. Next is foreign key. Now foreign key is a non-primary key in a table linked with the primary key of other table to maintain the data integrity in that table. Foreign key is a non-primary key in a table. Non-primary key means the field which is not primary key in that table, but linked with the primary key of other tables, similar fields, similar data type. Name may vary. And that is what the foreign key is. We create the foreign key in a table to link the more than 2 table and 2 table and more than 2 table to retrieve the data from more than 1 table. That is what the foreign key is. So foreign key is a key, non-primary key in a table linked with the primary key of other table is called foreign key. I hope the foreign key must be very clear then. Now, queries part, you have seen the query is an object, prime object or just an object which help us to retrieve the data, which help us to again extract the exact data, filter data that you want from the table. And forms also I discussed yesterday. The form is another object through which you can enter the data easily into the table. Form also help us to analyze the data because one record at a time you can see. And report is an object which help us to present the data in a presentable manner. That is what the report is. Now, designing databases. Now, before designing a database, as a designer, as a database administrator, as a responsible person of a database, we have to think about something. It's not that the blindly you can start creating the database. Keep that in mind. Database creation seems to be very easy once we do practically in the base and MS Access, but mind it or believe me, database creation is one of the crucial tasks for database administrator because it again help you further to use several years the same database. If your database you created, keep that in mind, it will be not invalid in future. In today's scenario, something can be very right, but maybe day after tomorrow or maybe in future the same thing will be invalid. For example, there was a phone number early and the phone number field was very valid, but once after 2007, the mobile generation and mobile again has been created or developed by this scientist. I don't think there is a telephone number valid nowadays in the table. So people are talking about the mobile number or a fax number appeared. Maybe tomorrow the touch screens or ID of yours is supposed to be. ID number of yours is, maybe the barcode again is one of the data that will present the complete data about you. You have an Aadhaar card number now. Now Aadhaar card number have all detail of yours, your phone number also, your address also, your biometric again like identities of yours also. Mind it. So yesterday there was no Aadhaar number in the table, but today Aadhaar number is there. Tomorrow something else will be there. So keeping that in mind, the future prospect of that, if you are creating a database, then only your database will sustain for future. Otherwise, database will be invalid easily. So what we should consider, what we should think before designing database, I'll discuss that. Kindly listen carefully. Now first is determine the purpose of database. Why you at all creating a database? It's not that for joke you are creating a database. Why you are studying? It should be very again clear in your mind that I want to study because I want to be a good human being and I want to be called as a good social human being, and just I want to again support my family. I want to be a scientist, I want to be a doctor, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a computer engineer, or maybe a robotic engineer, or maybe an AI expert. So this vision of yours will only make you that AI expert or a good human being. If you're simply studying without knowing that why you are studying at all, I don't think you will land somewhere again properly. That is what it is. So first and foremost, I must think about what the purpose of database. Now purpose means the reason must be behind it ki why this database is supposed to be created computerized though there was a manual ways. For example, a police want to create a database and that is a criminal database. Why police at all again want to create the computerized database on criminal? Why police is not able to manage on the register? What problem he or she or policeman is facing? These all are required to introspect. And once that has been introspected and the drawbacks of that manual database you again identified, I hope your purpose has been solved. So maybe it's taking lot of time to search a particular criminal record a police must be facing. Police may say that the pages, meanwhile some pages has been again torn or teared or damaged by someone intensely. Police may say it's very tough for 20 years back again record is required to be registered, may not be in a good condition. That may be another case. So this is what the purpose of computer database, first and foremost. Second is, once the purpose is very clear, then you have to think how many tables you want to keep in a particular database. Now suppose I have a criminal database, then what are the tables which were? Maybe the criminal master table you must have. Losses and FIRs that you do, that will be the separate so that you can trap the how many FIR are against of these criminals. Maybe something else. So depend on the, for example, if it is a school database, then we must have a student table, then we must have a fees table, we must have a marks table where the student related information is stored in the students, marks related to the student regarding a particular exams will be stored in the mark, and similar ways the fees of the students that he paid or he is about to pay should be again in the separate table. That is the three table I am talking. Likewise, we have to decide how many tables are required to create that table. Then third steps is how many fields are supposed to be there in a particular table. For example, a student table. So we must have a student admission number, that is a unique key, primary key. Then a student must have a name, then class and the section. There must be a father's name, mother's name, address, phone number, fax, email, identity, and likewise Aadhaar number, etc. This is what the details are supposed to be there, or columns or fields are supposed to be created in a student table. And then once you have decided that how many tables, you have also decided how many fields, then what field will be the primary key. That is the next page to decide it which field in what table you want to create as a primary key. Once you had done that till so far, then find out the relationship among the table if you want to establish some relationship so that easily you can extract the data from more than one table. And once that is also over, then refine your design, check your design. Any again drawbacks, anything something is missing, then once you had completed that section also, then you can only go to the entering the data into the table in that database. So these are the major again steps that we must take before again deciding about the database. First and foremost, the purpose of it, that should be very again known to you, and once you are not knowing, kindly try to know. Otherwise, don't go for the creation of database. Later you realize this is a useless thing. For example, if a company today will create a mobile or develop a mobile or generate a mobile or just again manufacturing the mobile, which weight is 5 kg, maybe very fine. Maybe the transfer receiver capacity very fine. But do you think that anyone will carry that? Carrying the 5 kg mobile in the pocket, not possible. Carrying the 5 kg mobile in my hand is not possible. Keeping somewhere and missing and again sending someone to carry it will be a burden. That's why mobile is very portable. Mobile is very handy. Mobile is very less wet device. It's not the heavy device. That is what the purpose should be known. And the purpose is known, they determine the table. Once table is known, determine how many fields. And once field is known, find out what the primary key will be there, which field you want to create the primary. Once that is also over, go for the refinement of it. Just check the designing of the database. And once you feel it's over, then just save it and start again creating the table and entering the data. That is what the different steps are. So with this, I'm able to finish the introducing databases, chapter 1 of yours. kindly go through the exercises and let me know if there is any questions that is there in your book. Because second session, before starting the second session, I want to know any doubts of yours, if you have any from these chapters related to the any questions, multiple choice, fill-ups, and maybe the question answers, then you can let me know so that I'll solve before again starting the session 2. Thank you all. Please watch this video again and again, like it also, subscribe it also, so that further this next again like a uploading of my video you will come to know immediately. Okay to all.